Hello, Patrick. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. So it's been over 10 years, right? The last time we saw your character was in Insidious Chapter 2. That sort of felt like it brought the story to an end, to a conclusion. Tell us how you ended up here, back making a new Insidious film.
So yes, I'll try to make it quick. The Lee Wanell had written about a 15, 20 page outline, pitching it as, closer to sort of a Dalton going to college, Peter Parker scenario. It had nothing to do with the family. It was almost like uh, but he went to a New England college and shit happened, basically. They had pitched it. Hey, would you be in it a little bit? And but before that even got to me, my agent had pitched to them, what if he directs it? And they were like, oh, we didn't even know he wanted to direct. That's a great idea. So then they pitched it to me as, would you do this and would you direct it? And then I thought, oh, hang on, don't know if I need to go back into the Insidious world and all that. And then I sat on it for about a night and thought, wait, this is an incredible opportunity. Because my agent did that because I've been wanting to direct. And once I got over the fear of feeling like I needed to fill James's shoes or Lee's shoes, and I thought, if I can have the movie be about these things that I'm really passionate about, like, create the father-son relationship. Let's have him make him at an art school, kind of the through line of the art. And I really saw it as like, if I do this movie, I need to go back and address what happened at the end of Insidious 2. So once I pitched them that, and then they said, great, who do you want to write it? Do you want to write it? It was, no, I don't want to write it. But then we got Scott Teems, who had written other films for them before. Scott and I hit it off. Scott flew to me in New Jersey, and he said, what do you want to say? What do you want to say in this movie? We just went through everything that I wanted to address. And there were things that I felt very passionate and personal about. And then he wrote it. And then we spent the next 2.5 years refining that. And here we are 4 years later.
And how was it jumping into the director's chair for the first time? How was this experience for you, directing a movie that you also star in, directing a movie that is part of an existing franchise? Tell me a bit about that experience.
Yeah, no, it's I am like a go big or go home kind of guy. I love that this is my first foray into this. It's really it was the perfect combo of people to be surrounded by. It was the perfect challenge for me. It certainly is not just a bunch of people sitting around at a, drinking coffee kind of movie. It's a lot. It's the biggest Insidious film. It's in some ways it's a beast, and it's a $500 million franchise. All those things, summer opening, all that stuff that should scare me, I know. But that excites me more than anything. I love the thrill. I love the challenge. So I don't run from fights. I think that's a quote of mine from the Conjuring movie, using my other franchise. We don't run from fights.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever get confused when you think back of, making The Conjuring and making the Insidious movies? Do you ever get them kind of mixed up in your head?
No, they're so different to me. It really is. It's like Conjuring is like a buildup, because it's like 4 months prior, or I start growing the sideburns out. It's like a shift that goes in, like I start like getting into Ed Warren mode. Josh is a whole different beast. I had let go of this years ago, so it was fun to step back in and to show us just some new colors of him. He was always so sort of Debbie Downer. So yeah. So but I don't get them. I'm confused. They're so different to me, just in tone, really.
Insidious kind of felt like a game changer initially when it first came out in 2011, right? It kind of ushered in a new era of horror, a different type of horror for the 2010s. Now, it's been over a decade since that movie. Has horror changed since the original Insidious movie? And how did that affect how
100%.
you told this particular story?
That's a great point. 100%. Audiences have moved on from that. They love this franchise, but a lot of those people that were 22 when they loved it then, they're like 35 now. James and Lee really did reshape the modern the modern horror and make it so much more accessible to a wider audience, being PG-13, not a lot of violence, not a lot of blood, all this, jump scares. It's a little, smaller movies. But even in the past few years, I look at, Ty West's resurgence. I look at what Ari Aster has done, guys that I love, movies that I really, really love. That's where we are. And so Insidious is different. It's a quirky world. It's strange. It's sometimes a little avant-garde, and I love that. So I liked exploring that. I liked sort of putting my own version of that. But I knew, because you bring up a good point, we're in a different place. Remember, Insidious was coming out of like Paranormal and those Paranormal Activity and like a lot of Blair Witch fused prior. So there's a lot of found footage stuff. And it was like, okay, well, that ship has sailed on the found footage stuff. But even outside of horror movies, I look at what like Stranger Things and with the upside down versions, they're like, yeah, we used to call that the Further. Like there's audiences have gotten used to that stuff. The greatest part about a horror movie is the discomfort. It should be unexpected. So that's the hardest thing to achieve when you're doing a sequel, much less a fifth movie. So you can't, and we go through this on Conjuring too. Audiences want the same feeling, but so much of their same feeling is the unexpected, and that just doing a sequel obviously belies that. You know what I mean? So you have to sort of, that's why the more that I dug into the family drama of it, the more I felt like, well, it was going to be emotional. There's an emotional resolve. So even if some people aren't scared of this scene and some people are terrified of this, there should be an emotional catharsis in the film that can kind of surpass that.
Looking for more horror content? Subscribe now for more videos like this one and listen to the Evolution of Horror podcast. Head on over to evolutionofhorror.com.